or the amendment to the motion.
That's grand.
And I welcome the opportunity here, the perspectives from members of the House on Ireland's policy of military neutrality. But what we need to focus on now is a more serious, sustained and informed discussion on our international security and policy choices. The security situation in Europe has changed significantly. This calls for a serious consideration of the state's approach to international security issues and the contribution we can and should make to the safety and security of Europe. A highly globalised country, Ireland cannot rely on our geographic isolation for our security, nor isolate ourselves from world events. It is important to be clear on precisely what we are discussing. Ireland's policy of military neutrality, as practised by successive governments over many decades, means Ireland does not participate in military alliances or common or mutual defence arrangements. There are no plans to change this policy. The government's counter-motion explicitly reaffirms this position. And what I do have to say generally about the discussion here, and many people have been quoting on the other side, going back to statements in over 10 years ago by different politicians in 2013, and there was no discussion on this during the last general election. I just ask, I don't know what planet you've been living on. The world has changed since the last general election. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. I have never had a war in Europe in my lifetime. Nobody in this building has ever seen a war on the continent in Europe in our lifetime. None of us in this building have ever seen it. We never saw it before the last general election. It has happened since, by Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Whether we like it or not, it has changed the international security situation in Europe, of which we are a part. That has changed fundamentally since the last general election. And for people to say what people said on previous occasions, we were privileged since the last World War to be here in Europe in a peaceful nation that had no military assaults on other countries in the European Union. And Putin did it. And if people don't respond to the change in circumstances, we would be irresponsible in our actions in not taking any action. And I have listened to Putin's puppets over there today. And this is an issue of Putin's puppets versus the people of Ireland. And that's what you are. You're puppets for Putin. And you're on the wrong side of history.
You got your opportunity. Sit down.
I have the floor.
Sit down now.
I have the floor.
Sit down.
I have the floor.
Minister, please. Deputy, sit down. You had your opportunity and you're going to get 10 minutes again. And if you sit down now. Thank you. Sit down. No.
You have an opportunity. You have the wrap-up speech. You have the wrap-up speech.
I want you to withdraw that accusation that we are puppets of Putin. Withdraw it now.
Well, all I can say, I did not direct my comment at any individual, and that's but if the hat fits, you should wear it.
Deputy,
you obviously feel the hat fits.
Deputy, please sit. No, Deputy, sit down now. Deputy Smith and Deputy Murphy, please sit down. You have 10 minutes now, and if you want, I'll call this debate off. No, please. No, it's not a point of order. Sit down, it's not a point of order. Deputy, will you tone down your... Deputy, sit down. Sit down, Deputy. Will you have respect for the chair? Respect for the chair. Will you have respect for the chair? Respect for the...
Members may not say that another member is taking orders...
Now, you made enough allegations yourself earlier, and I'll let you go. Please sit down. Please sit down. Sit. I will adjourn I will adjourn now if you don't stop.
Please check the rules. Please adjourn and check the rules. 147. Members may not say that another member is taking orders or instructions from outside interest or is representing or speaking for such interest. That's what Putin's puppets means. It's very, very clear. And
right. Well, I adjourned it for 5 minutes. I adjourned it for 5 minutes. Thank you.
And you're telling the people...
Minister, are you going to withdraw or clarify what you said?
I would specifically clarify what I said. I listened to the debate here for the last hour or so, and at least 15 members of the opposition have spoken. I refer to Putin's puppets. I didn't refer to any one specific individual. And if an individual feels I was referring to them,
Deputy,
as I said, and I'm clarifying, 15 members of the opposition spoke. I made a reference, and if some members feel it relates to them, if the hat fits, they can wear it. But I didn't put the hat on anyone here today. I mentioned no name. I did not direct my comments at any individual. It was a general remark, and if a deputy takes offence, it's up to the deputy. And why would an individual deputy think I was referring to them if they didn't believe it themselves? And I'm still referring to no deputy.
Deputy Smith.
All of us who spoke here this morning are liable to that accusation that a member, that you breached the order now, and you will not remove it, you will not withdraw what you said, and the order is a member shall not say that another member is taking orders.
I didn't mention another member. I didn't mention any member.
Right. Deputy,
now we find ourselves in the same position as the Healy raised in demanding that you withdraw an accusation that we are not Putin's puppets. Nobody that spoke here today. Who you referring to?
right. Deputy. Right. Minister, are you withdrawing the remark?
If you don't do it now,
Deputy, please now. I've asked the question. Please. Please now. Please. Withdraw the remark for the order of the House.
I'll withdraw the remark in the event, as a result of some members feeling the comment was directed to them, which it wasn't specifically.
You continue on. You have now, Deputy. He has withdrawn the Deputy. He has withdrawn the remark, and accept that now, please. Now, Minister, continue.
I will continue. Now, it was interesting here in this debate that we've actually had over the last hour or so, and in particular the debate we've had here in relation to recognising the state of Palestine yesterday. It was very important. And I will say in this debate, talking about the issue of neutrality, since the last general election, the world has changed. In my lifetime, I've never seen an invasion by Russia into Europe before. I've heard no criticism. What? Ukraine. It's not in the European Union, and they have preferred status
Deputy,
to be.
please.
England, the UK.
Deputy, I'll have to ask you to leave now if you don't stop.
The UK is not in the European Union, but yes, they are in Europe. Okay, the European Union is not Europe. And it's important to recognise that. Switzerland is in Europe, but it's not in the European Union. So I'm not referring to that. And then I heard very little criticism about what Hamas did on the 2nd of October here in the last few days as well. But we are very fair and proportionate. We criticise what Hamas did on the 7th of October, and we also and more firmly criticise the actions of Israel and their barbaric slaughter of thousands of people, innocent people, women and children and men who were utterly defenceless in the Gaza Strip. And when we talk about neutrality, we can't ignore what's happened in the world since the last general election. In case you haven't noticed, there have been changes since the last general election. And you talk about neutrality, I talk about military neutrality as part of this debate for the very simple reason. I know, you know, and we all know the Irish people are not one single bit neutral when it comes to Israel and the Palestinian people. We are not a neutral country politically or ideologically. We don't favour the downtrodden people being overrun by bigger military might, as happened here in our own country over many years. We are not neutral when it comes to a big, aggressive defender with almighty arms, trampling over the lives and killing innocent people who are powerless to defend themselves. Similarly, the Irish people are not one bit neutral when it comes to Russia and Ukraine and what Putin has done in Ukraine. The Irish people are very clear. We support the Ukrainian people. We support their early access to the European Union. So collectively we are stronger against the aggression of the military might of Russia. And they believe the longer this goes on, the better for them, that they'll wear down resistance. So Ireland has worked to make sure funding is put back in place for various projects, including the people in Gaza, through us taking the lead with UNRWA and asking countries who've suspended their funding to reinstate it immediately. I personally attended a meeting of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Development Committee in Europe 2 weeks ago to put pressure on the European Commission, who had withheld some of their funding to UNRWA while the last investigation was underway by Mrs. Colonna. And they have agreed to bring forward the funding and pay it over that they had held over. So that is what we do. We are not neutral when it comes to Israel and Gaza. We are not neutral when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. But people think we are neutral. Get real. The Irish people are not neutral. This chamber is not neutral. So don't talk to us about us being neutral when some country is slaughtering another country. We're not one bit neutral. But when it comes to military action, our best thing as a small country of 5 million people, we're over 60 years on peacekeeping missions around the world. Ireland, there has never been a single day in over 60 years that Ireland hasn't been on UN peacekeeping mission. And that will continue because people see us as fair-minded people. We never participated in a war. We never invaded a country. We never support any country during the world wars that happened in the past. And I will say, I want to commend the government amendments to the House.
Deputy Richard Boyd Barrett.